What if I told you if you expect to win, you've already lost? Today's topic: how to improve in any fighting game with these 5 strategies. Let's go. The first one is gonna be a tough pill to swallow for most of you guys. All right, and that's avoid the danger of entitlement. Just because you play the game, your fighting game, for a long period of time. Let's say you've committed 500 hours, even 200 hours. It really doesn't matter. You've dedicated yourself to play the game and you want to win. And you only want to win, okay? That's not a good mentality to have if you want to improve in a fighting game, okay? Ego is so bad. Ego is so bad when you want to improve in anything. The reason is that you have expectations, certain egocentric expectations, and when they're not met, you suffer from a thing called tilt, right? And with this, you become more disappointed in your gameplay, in the results that you're getting, and you rage ultimately. So if you completely cut that and avoid it like the plague, then you'll be able to improve. Winning isn't like you're not entitled to win. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, guys. So don't expect to win if you're not putting in the work in. Manage your expectations. Have fun. Hone in on your craft. And success will follow. The next strategy that I've got is a simple one, but I don't think enough people use it. Watch replays. They are so ubiquitous in the fighting game community that if you're not using it, you're doing a disservice to your gameplay. There's match videos, there's match analysis videos. Shouts to Sejam. We've got Twitch streams, we've got player streams. You can interact with the players themselves and ask why they do certain things in certain situations. That's valuable knowledge to have when you're trying to improve in any video game, but specifically in fighting games. With Twitch, because it's live, you can just interact with the streamer, especially if it's a player streamer. Just try and pick their brain, man, and you'll learn something. You'll get great insight from it. If you're a new player, go with the tutorials as well. There's a bunch of YouTube tutorials that really break down what certain fighting games are like, and what the mechanics are, the characters, fighting game terminology. That's a big one. That's a big hurdle for new fighting game players that want to get into the scene. Just embrace that, man. Embrace the fact that the barrier to entry for content consumption is so low. It's so low, dude. So if you have internet, dude, there is no reason why you shouldn't be consuming FGC content. No reason. No excuse. No excuse. Especially if you want to improve. Now, for the third thing, the third strategy, you might ask, so why should I be watching high ranked players? Why should I be consuming all of this content? Why should I be doing all of these things and not just playing a lot online? If I put in enough time, then eventually I'll get better. Well, that's actually a common misconception that people have. These content creators, the tutorial makers, and especially the professional players, they train smart and question everything. There's a reason why these guys are considered experts in their fighting game. They do constant analysis on game mechanics, game feel as well, meta, game characters, all of it, all of it, and it goes down right to the nuance of each fighting game. What I mean by train smart is you really need to recreate in-game situations in training mode, because that will differentiate you from the common Joe. If you know every optimal outcome for a situation and they don't, you'll end up winning because you have that knowledge to adapt into your gameplay and then benefit from it. So for instance, if they don't know that a certain move, so your opponent doesn't know a certain move is minus, then you can capitalize on that, you know? Plus, as well, if they don't even know that you're at an advantage and they try and press a button, blow them up for it because of that lack of knowledge, that lack of game knowledge. Question everything is quite a vital one as well. It's quite a vital aspect when you're trying to improve in a fighting game. I've listed some sample questions here for you. Does this situation put me in advantage or disadvantage? Am I using all of my character's tools optimally? Why do I keep on getting by that one move? That one move, right? If you're able to ask yourself these questions and answer them, you're inadvertently becoming a researcher for your game. If you're able to answer these questions, you're researching the game, you're becoming a researcher. And the importance of that is not only you can use the knowledge that you gained from your questioning and apply it to the game, you can also share that with other people. And that's quite important for the longevity of the game as well. There's multitude of factors that benefit discovering game mechanics, discovering nuance in fighting games, and that changes the scape of things, right? So I assure you, if you dedicate a smart training mode habit every time you play, you'll become an expert in your fighting game. The next point I want to touch on is quite a fun one. It's quite a fun one. We're getting into the more practical side of things. You know, I've talked about mentality, not having an ego. I've talked about consuming content that's readily available for you. And the third one is going into training mode, training by yourself, and becoming a researcher for your game. Now I'm going into the fun part, the more practical part, and that's training partners. Get a training partner. It's fun. It's ultimately fun. And the reason why it's fun is because you can discuss with your training partners about the game. It's a social. I've put there. It's a social learning experience because you're showing someone what you've learned and what you can do in game, and then they can say, "Oh well, I've got an answer for that. Oh wait, have you thought of this idea?" And then it just becomes a constant um, debate on whether this thing's good, this thing's bad, and you're constantly learning new things. Regularly playing is another aspect that's important because you're testing your knowledge, you're testing all of the things that you've you've gathered in training mode and now applying it to a, a real world situation, and that's actually in match. So that's highly important as well. Training partners. Now last but not least, right, this this is as simple as it gets for fighting game community members. Attend your local. Attend your local, guys. There's This is the biggest and most important reason as why fighting game, specifically local fighting game community events, are important for your improvement. Local events are often tournaments, and that's the highest caliber of testing your gameplay knowledge and your expertise, right? So attending these local tournaments is vital for developing not only as a player but a community member as well. It's it's a social it's a social experience that helps you develop as a player, build relationships with other players, and ultimately supports the local community. It puts everything into practice, right? It's a little bit different when compared to training partners because training partners is a little bit more laxed environment. There's nothing on the line. But when you're at a local FGC event, specifically a tournament, there is something on the line. That something is, well, if you lose, you're getting kicked out the tournament. You're going into losers and then you're getting eliminated, right? And then you have no chance of winning the tournament. That's the thing. That differentiates training partners at the training partner experience and the local experience. So that and it's more intense, and you need to have that experience. You need to have a ton of experience in local FGC events. I'll argue that attending local FGC events is not only about improving as a player. I think for the vast majority of players, when you attend a local FGC, it's mainly about maintaining relationships and close social bonds. That's everything that I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching.